As I promised, Brendan Straka is how you write it. Straka is how you pronounce it sometimes. He's a young man who decided to walk away from the Democrat Party. If you don't know him, do you remember this? Take a look at this. Watch.
Once upon a time, I was a liberal. But liberalism has changed, and I will no longer be a part of an ideology or political party that represents everything that contradicts my values of unity, equal opportunity, personal empowerment, compassion, and love. So I am walking away. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away.
That you were a Democrat.
Yes.
In fact, you voted for one Hillary Rodham Clinton.
I sure did. Yeah.
And you decided at some point to walk away. Why?
Yes. Well, after the election of Donald Trump, I was devastated because I had spent my whole life believing in the principles of the Democratic Party and the liberal media that supports that machine. And that liberal media did a very effective job of convincing me, I think, and most people on the left that we had elected the second coming of Hitler and that, we had this monster in the office, that we were in danger. They did a very effective job at targeting minority groups and letting us know that we were in danger and, that this was a very, very bad situation. Well, I discovered how dishonest the liberal media had been, thanks to the help of a friend of mine who sort of led me to a video which very clearly exposed how they had created a narrative, isolated moments from his campaign, twisted that narrative to make us believe these horrible things. And that sent me on a journey of doing research. And I discovered there was a lot of falsehoods coming out of the Democratic Party and the liberal media that supports them.
The liberal media. Mm-hmm. That brings me to this next soundbite of Rachel Maddow. Now, you mentioned that Rachel was at least partly responsible for your walking away. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Okay.
What I have here is a copy of Donald Trump's tax returns. We have his federal tax return for 1 year for 2005. I believe this is the only set of the president's federal taxes that reporters have ever gotten a hold of. What we have are these 2 pages, front and back, from the same 1040 form that you might have filled out when you file your taxes. And in terms of what's on here, let me give you the basics. Aside from the numbers being large, these pages are straightforward.
I remember that day. That was teased all day long.
Important
piece. Make sure you watch the Rachel Maddow show.
Yes.
Can I not? There's some breaking news. That's going to blow Donald Trump out of the water.
Smoking gun.
And you watched that and thought what?
I thought this is the very end of this. At that point, my liberalism and my allegiance to the Democratic Party was on life support. It was in hospice care. But I tuned in that night after she went on that tweeting frenzy, and I thought, well, if she truly has a smoking gun here, I may be willing to change my mind. I may be willing to get on the I hate Trump train once again. And when she produced 2 pieces of paper which proved nothing other than the fact that he paid his taxes in 2005, I took my remote control and I threw it down on my bed and I said, I'm done. I'm finished. These people are making this up as they go along. I'm out of here.
That was the straw. That was the
final straw.
Final straw.
Final straw.
So I noticed you said minority groups or groups. Talk to me about that, and you consider yourself in one of these groups?
Yes. Well, I'm a gay man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me now you've left the Democrat Party, who claims to be the big tent, the party of inclusion, right? And they claim that the right is the opposite of that, the antithesis of that. What are you finding?
Well, it's a very peculiar thing because what they do is they sort of invite everyone into this tent, like you say, and say you're very welcome here. But once inside the tent, they start dividing us all up under sort of this privilege hierarchy. Are you a man or are you a woman? Are you black? Are you white? Are you gay or you're straight? And then somewhere you fall on this totem pole of victimhood and and then those above you are the oppressors. What I've found on the right is that people don't really care about this identity politics stuff. What they care about is, are you a good person? They care about the quality of your character. And they care about, are you a patriot? How do you feel about America? Do you want America to succeed? I have received nothing but love and support from the people on the right since I started the Walkaway campaign, saying, look, some people say, I love gay people, and some people say, I just don't care one way or another if you're gay or not,
So one thing I want to touch on, and I think this is probably why Hillary Clinton lost, is that she assumed that every gay person was going to vote for her. She assumed that every black man or woman was going to vote for, every minority was going to vote for,
Yeah.
every woman was going to vote for.
Yeah.
And she took those groups for granted. Did you feel taken for granted when you were at least on the Democrat side for a while?
Well, I was granted. I mean, I was granting that to her. I mean, she was right to feel that way. As a gay man, I didn't even think otherwise that I mean, yes, I was going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and every other minority that I know as well, whether it be gay people, racial minorities, we all were like, of course we're going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Those monsters on the right don't want us. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't until after I made this discovery.
So how are you within the gay community? Are they mad at you, or do they feel you've betrayed them?
Well, if we're going to talk about the gay community, they have not reacted well to the walkaway campaign or to me, my part in this, starting it. Yeah, I've received a lot of pushback. I've received a lot of nastiness and insults. But, you know, it all comes from a place of fear because, once again, they're still believing the media. They still believe that everybody on the right is out to get them and wants to hurt them and that I'm somehow aiding that in happening. But it must be stated, too, there's a lot of gay people who have been Republicans for a long time who are on the right. They don't see themselves as that, you know, once again, the identity politics. They're just gay Americans. They're just Americans who happen to be gay. And those people are reaching out to me, too, and thanking me for doing this.
Let's do this. You mentioned fear in that last comment.
Yes.
We pulled an image of a headline talking about your campaign, your hashtag walkaway campaign.
Yes.
And they almost make it sound so scary and evil. Look, Russian bots are back. Hashtag walkaway attack on Democrats is a likely Kremlin operation. Now, Brandon, you started this.
Yes.
Do you know Putin?
Not yet.
Have you met Putin?
Not yet.
Are you in contact with Putin?
Not yet.
Are you in contact with any Russian operative? Are you colluding with the Russians?
I'm not colluding with any Russians at this time, no.
Has the FBI accused you? Has a Democrat accused you besides that? What was it? Where was that from?
Salon.
Salon.
Yeah.
Salon.
And then it got
I'm pretty sure that wasn't parody. I think that was like
no, it
legit.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And CNN picked up on it too. The New York Times picked up, all the usual suspects picked up on this story as well. And you know what I think is so funny is if you actually look at what they do and the way that they defend, you know, anything that they find frightening, because they can't ever just look at their own behavior and say, what can we do better? It's always got to be some sort of, you know, offensive action or defensive action. What they end up doing is, you know, it wasn't enough for them to accuse everyone of being Nazis. It wasn't enough for them to accuse everyone of being bigots. They have to take it a step further to dehumanize and literally dehumanize people, call them robots at this point. Because never at any point can they look at themselves in the mirror and say, maybe it's us. Maybe we need to be doing something different.
You know, one of the scariest things to a liberal, progressive liberal, is an African-American who is a strong conservative. Mm-hmm. I got to think a gay man who's gone from a Democrat to a Republican is a very scary thing to a liberal.
Good. Good. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it is. But, you know, I just got here from Los Angeles. I had the privilege of going to Dinesh D'Souza's wonderful film, Death of a Nation, which everyone should see. And when I was there at the premiere, it was the most amazing experience. I mean, everyone at the after party was racial minorities. You know, I was with Brandon Tatum, David Harris Jr., Larry Elder, like all these amazing black conservatives. There were gay conservatives. I mean, it's just the Republican Party is not, I think, what people have traditionally in the past thought of it as being. It's actually very inclusive now, and there's a lot of diversity there. What it doesn't have is the victimhood and the identity politics. It's people who are black, it's people who are gay, or it's obviously men and women who are white, but it's people who, you know, believe in America and have a desire to be, you know, strong, independent thinkers.
Are you a conservative now, or are you a Trump conservative, or where do you fall? Like, clearly we've outlined that there's a sliding scale on the right now.
Sure.
There's a pro-Trump wing, and there's an old school establishment wing. Where do you fall? Where do you put yourself?
Well, I'd like to make clear that I didn't come to this decision overnight. I did a lot of research, I did a lot of thinking, and I sort of agonized over how I actually felt. But at this point, since the month of May, I'm a registered Republican, and I absolutely love our president, and I can't wait to vote for him in 2020.
It's very interesting you say that, because we have a little soundbite of a guy who was he was a Bush operative. He was in the Bush or maybe McCain, one of the two camps, a campaigner, Steve Schmidt, always a Republican, but he was an old school. He was one of the old establishment types. Yeah. He's recently walked away from the Republican Party, the opposite of you. Okay. Let's take a listen to him.
He is an agent de facto of Russia's foreign policy. The foreign policies he's advocating, the bipartisan consensus that existed pre-Trump between Republicans and Democrats, would have recognized his foreign policy as clearly in the middle lane of the Kremlin's strategic interests. And to see it being advanced by an American president is as disturbing as it is shocking.
All right. Well, Brendan, what would you say to that to that guy? By the way, he brought up Russia again, this scary Russian thing going on the right. I will point out that I've never spoken to a Russian intelligence person. Nor have you. But anyway, so your comments to Steve Schmidt about walking away from the Republican Party.
This is what I have to say. Bye, Steve. Here, I'll give you a blue wave. This is the only blue wave there's going to be. Bye, Steve.
So bringing up the wave,
yes.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a socialist, self-described Bernie Sanders-type socialist, has won a primary in New York State, which means socialism among younger people is here. How old are you?
You can't ask a gay man his age. That's a hate crime.
All right, so
that's a hate crime.
You're under 40. Can I say, are you under 40?
No.
Okay.
You can't say
All right. So what do you think of this new wave of younger people who are at least accepting? So it used to be, when I was growing up, we were afraid of socialists. We thought that was the end of our life as we know it.
Right.
Now all of a sudden people are embracing socialism.
Well, I don't think people are embracing. I mean, the people who are embracing socialism.
They voted her in.
I get it. But
over a long-term Democrat. I think a 10-term Democrat.
Right. But the Democratic Party has gotten very desperate. And I think in their desperation, what they're doing is really courting youngsters. This is why they did what they did after Parkland, the Parkland shooting. They're trying to manipulate the youth of America because these are people who don't have a lot of life experience. They haven't fully formed their opinions. They haven't gotten out there in the workforce and understand the value of the dollar and working for it and earning your own keep. That's why they're courting these groups. I think she's very exciting to someone who's 18, 19, 20 years old who thinks like, yo, let's all take care of each other. It doesn't matter what I earn. I'll give you all my money. Yeah, because they don't have any money. They're 20 years old. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that anybody who's a grown person who has some life experience, who's going out there and earning their own money, thinks that socialism and communism is a good idea.
All right, I'm just asking one more time.
Sure.
Do you find on the right there's any, let's call it, any hate to the LGBT community? Is there any dislike of minorities, African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, women? Is there any bias against women? This is what the left tried and tattoos the right with. Are you finding any of that?
I'm not finding any of that at all, and if I were, I simply wouldn't be doing this. I mean, I had the option to walk away from the Democratic Party and just be an independent or stay in the middle and stay silent. I wouldn't be encouraging other people to do that if there was any danger on the other side. I'm all about empowering gay people. I'm all about empowering racial minorities, and that's why I want to encourage them to be free thinkers and come over to the right.
And you do feel that on the right, there's the equal path as wide open on the right as is on the left for a gay man to succeed and be accepted and be promoted within, here we are in D.C., the biggest.
Look what's happening to me right now. I mean, how could this be happening to me if the Republican Party hated me so much, or if they didn't want me? I mean, I'm getting nothing but love.
Let me ask this before we let you go. When you go on the shows, you've been on left-leaning shows?
Not enough. They're not talking.
How do they treat you when you go on those shows?
Well, they're very skeptical, and they just try to push the Russian bot narrative. Right now, their tactic seems to be, this is a fake campaign. And I mean, they've done stories about paid actors. They've done stories about Russian bots. And then recently, somebody who was not associated with our campaign, the Walkway campaign, created memes where they stole images from Shutterstock. And so they tried to run with that and be like, oh, they're stealing fake images of people and putting quotes on them. So anything that they can do to just discredit it and pretend like it's not real.
All right, Brendan Straka, S-T-R-A-K-A.
Say whatever you want.
Say whatever you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome here anytime, my friend.
Thank you.